Welcome back to the C7 Miniature Misinformer Podcast, the only place where your hobby news is 60% facts, 40% fabrication, and 100% more stable than the audio on Games Workshop's latest preview stream. Seriously, the lights were flickering, the mics were clipping, and for 40 glorious seconds, the host sounded like he was broadcasting from inside a tin of nun oil. This week, we've got Nurgle board games, Necron gods, Tau twin lasers, a literal pile of Legions Imperialis tanks, a championship surprise, and more Ultramarines than you can shake a Primaris lieutenant at. Plus, for our rotating minigame this week, Lore or Bore, where we guess whether obscure lore entries are real or written by me at 3 a.m. after sniffing plastic glue. Let's get into the muck, and when by muck I mean Nurgle. It's always Nurgle. Hobby scandals. Okay, let's start with the big one, the Warhammer Preview stream disaster of 2025. We had echoes, lights shutting off mid-reveal, a presenter accidentally muting themselves right after they've said, "This is the model you've all been waiting for." Cut to black. Meanwhile, every Warhammer content creator on Earth was doing reaction streams in real time, which meant we got the absolute joy of 400 people all saying, "Wait, what? Did they mean to do that?" All at the same time. The main reveals: Warhammer Quest 2 vs. 2 Nurgle Edition, officially titled Warhammer Quest Rot and Roll. 4 players, piles of Nurgle minis, and enough tentacles to qualify as a mild content warning. Horus Heresy's Legion, Astartes kits, and Mechanicum Scardi reinforcements. Legion Imperialis Saturnine Battle Group, 47 tiny tanks, 12 platforms, and 0 chances your eyesight will survive. Old World GrandCathay reveals included what appears to be a war drum so big it needs an FAQ just to exist. Necromunda, Spire of Primus book, along with new minis, and of course, Necron Overlord, Necrosser Amantor, a Nightbringer shard, and a full battalion. Some folks in the community have already dubbed it the Flicker event. Rumors say Games Workshop will use it as canon. And lo, the machine spirits did falter, and the lumen globes did flicker, and the Omnissiah declared the presentation scuffed. 10 out of 10 would watch again. Community Watch. This week in community happenings, the Warhammer 40k World Championships finished, and the winner was Adeptus Mechanicus. Yes, the faction everyone said was mid-tier. The faction everyone said needed help. The faction people only played because they were painting tiny toaster people with stabby sticks. Turns out, nope, they're monsters. Everywhere in the hobby, local stores are already booking Warhammer Quest Rot and Roll demo nights despite the game not being out and nobody technically knowing the rules. Necromunda players are thrilled about Spire of Primus, especially because it adds just enough lawlessness nonsense to justify everyone running 3 pets and a flamethrower. Old World fans are still arguing about whether the GrandCathay roster is perfect, not enough dragons, or why don't we have the Panda Legion yet. Meanwhile, in non-Games Workshop news, Privateer Press held a Warmachine weekender showing off more Orogoth sculpts, including one that looks exactly like a fantasy forklift. Infinity players are hyped about a small Warcrow preview coming next month. Dust 1947 players still exist. They wanted me to say that. Warlord Games, known for blood and plunder, are making every gamer briefly consider buying a pirate furled shirt, has revealed their newest skirmish game, Brigands of Aldra. Set on a lost, doomed island soaked in sword and sorcery vibes, this warband skirmish game brings gritty fantasy chaos with just the right amount of existential dread. Early previews show dynamic sculpts, fast-paced rules, and a setting described as Conan meets Shipwreck meets absolutely no one is getting off this island alive. The community reaction? People are excited and confused, and already arguing over which warbands are secretly broken, which means the hype cycle is right on schedule. Brush tips nobody asked for. Today's theme: 3 brush tips I swear are real, even though they sound fake. The broken brush method. If your brush splits into 2 tips, congratulations. You now have a tool for painting tiny highlights on ropes, bandages, and Tyranid's teeth. It's like dual wielding, but for bristles. The Nurgle dip. Drop your brush in water, forget it for 40 minutes, realize you've made a swamp. Use the murky water as a wash. It won't work well, but it will smell thematic for the new Warhammer Quest box. Dry brushing, extremely wet. Trademark. Kind of like jazz. It's more about the chaos than the technique. Load too much paint, wipe off too little, panic, then smear it around until it looks intentional. Boom. Textured armor plate. Bonus tip. If you ever need inspiration, simply stare at your pile of shame until its existential weight motivates you. And now a word from our sponsors. Today's sponsors are especially cursed. Contrast and Coffee, the only brew that shades itself. Trademark Incorporated. Pour it, shake it, spill it. No matter what, it settles into the recesses of your personality. Adeptus Mechanicus Championship Training DVD. Trademark Incorporated. Learn how to win tournaments using nothing but a flowchart, an abacus, and a 37-minute deployment phase. Ultramarines Captain Titus Hair Gel, Trademark Incorporated, for when you need to look stern, heroic, and slightly confused by your own rebooted lore. Events and Exposés. Alright, the big pile of news from the preview continues. Warhammer 40k faction updates. League of Votann got a new character who looks like he bench presses land raiders for recreation. Tau twin lance battlesuits revealed, because nothing says diplomacy like 2 giant laser cannons taped together. Tyranid Prime returns looking like it skipped leg day and focuses exclusively on whipping the nearest things. Ultramarines Captain Titus and the Wardens of Ultramar push the narrative forward. Expect 17 novels by Christmas. The 500 Worlds Campaign Battle Set book collection. 4 books, a narrative campaign, and a battle set. Likely full of models you've already owned, but different enough to tempt you. Horus Heresy, all 12 books in 1 hardcover, perfect for collectors, lord nerds, and anyone trying to break into a house using sheer blunt force. Don't do that. Other systems, Warmachine teased a mysterious new Warjack chassis. Translation, spiky robot, very angry, probably red. Mantic announced a Kings of War holiday set with more goblins than any home should legally store. And Warlord Games previewed concept art for Nihilidin War Turtle in Warlords of Arahorn. Yes, War Turtle. Rotating minigame. Alright, time for this week's minigame, Lore or Bore. I'll read an obscure piece of lore and you decide, is it a real Warhammer lore or something I wrote on a sticky note at 2 a.m. A Necron cryptic once converted an entire planet into a giant tuning fork to broadcast a complaint signal across the galaxy. The Tau once deployed a single fire warrior whose only training was shouting morale slogans louder than the gunfire. Adeptus Mechanicus priests occasionally give sermons to broken toasters to help calm the machine spirits. And the answers?
And the correct answer is...
Number 1, real. Number 2, fake. Probably. And number 3, sadly real, maybe too real. Predictions and closing remarks. Predictions for upcoming weeks. Games Workshop announces a new game mode called Boarding Actions Plus, which is just Kill Team, but everyone is slightly upset. Nurgle leaks more models because he can't help himself. AdMech becomes the new villain of the competitive scene. Someone in the community will claim that the Warhammer Preview technical issues were intentional narrative foreshadowing. And finally, a new Necron battalion sells out in 40 seconds because the internet collectively decided it needed more green rods in its life. That's it for today's episode of the C7 Miniature Misinformer Podcast. If you enjoy this chaos, give the show a follow, leave a review, or throw some bits at my next Twitch stream like a confused grot in the tipping pit. Until next time, roll crits, paint hits, and may your audio never echo like Games Workshop Preview stream. This again has been C7 Miniature Misinformer Podcast, reporting the tabletop war gaming news you didn't know you needed because it isn't real. Maybe. Possibly. Maybe a little.